എത്രയും മനോജ്ഞമായി സദാനമായി ഭവിക്കണം. നന്മരൂപിയായ ദൈവമേ നിനക്കു വന്ദനം. നന്മരൂപിയായ ദൈവമേ നിനക്കു വന്ദനം.
Now, I would really like to invite Dr. S. Lakshmi, the course coordinator and head of the Department of Physics, Sanatana Dharma College. Please.
Hello. Join ചെയ്തു.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Kekam, sir. Kekam. Yeah, sir. It is okay, sir.
Inconvenience caused. There was some technical issue. Really sorry. Good morning. Dr. P.R. Krishna sir, Honorable Manager Sri P. Krishna Kumar sir, our guest of the day, most respected Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya sir, Professor Gopchandran sir, Professor V. Viju sir, respected Ramanand sir, respected Vice Principal E. Krishna Nambudiri sir, Prabhu sir, 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 all other faculty members of our college and other colleges, supporting staff members, dear participants and managers. It's a great honor for me to be the coordinator for such a beneficial course on research, publication and ethics organized by the Research Department of Physics as a part of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of our college. We all work together with the motto of spreading knowledge to the society as visioned by the founding fathers of Sanatana Dharma Vidyashala. The inaugural program is organized in close association with the Department of Physics and Department of Optoelectronics, University of Kerala. The topic of the workshop is selected so that the students who are preparing for their upcoming coursework exam are really benefited with good lectures and study materials as per the syllabus instructed by UGC. My duty is to welcome all the dignitaries and the participants to this event. Our principal, Dr. P.R. Krishna Pillai, who is also a member of the Academic Council, is a role model to us as a good academician. He is a person who leads the institution by giving undue support for several such activities. With great respect, we welcome you, sir, to preside the inaugural function.
Thank you.
The role of a management in guiding and running such an old, prestigious institution is well reflected as we reach the Platinum Jubilee year of our college. The way our Honorable Manager supports the entire system with much endurance is to be exemplified always. With great honor, let me welcome our Honorable Manager Krishna Kumar sir to the inaugural function for rendering the introductory remarks. Welcome, dear sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Almost all the science departments and especially our department is able to produce quality research works because of the experimental and computational lab set up with the financial support of DST FISH. So it is really an honor to have a senior scientist from DST, Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, to inaugurate this function. With great honor, the SDC family welcomes you, sir, to inaugurate this function.
Thank you, madam. Good morning to all the esteemed dignitaries.
Another professor of the Department of Optoelectronics, who is also the director of School of Applied Science and Technology, Dr. K.G. Gopchandran sir. He is also the syndicate member of University of Kerala. We are happy to have an association with the Department of Optoelectronics in this program. Gopchandran sir has agreed to deliver a keynote address on research and research today. With great respect, let me welcome you, sir, to this function.
Thank you.
Dr. V. Viju sir, who is a professor of Department of Physics, is much familiar to many of us. A calm but efficient researcher who has produced many research papers is here to give a special address in this function.
ചേട്ടൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഇത് പൊളിച്ച് സ്കൂളല്ലേ എന്ന് എടുത്ത് വെച്ചു പൊളിക്കാൻ നിന്ന് സ്കൂളല്ലേ പ്രവർത്തനമുണ്ടല്ലോ കുറെ തട്ടും
Nipunar, we welcome you, sir, to this function. He's a former HOD of physics who took great efforts in making great developments in the department. He is still always concerned about the institution, especially about our department. With much love and respect, let me welcome you, sir, to our midst.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you all.
To render the felicitations, we have with us our Vice Principal and Head of the Department of English, Dr. E. Krishnambudri, Member of Kerala University's Jayakumar, Activities Coordinator and Associate Professor of Chemistry, Dr. P.S. Haranishwaran, and Dr. N. Nagendra Prabhu, Platinum Jubilee Coordinator and Associate Professor of Zoology with us. We are able to do many great things in our college with your support and timely help. To save time, let me welcome you all together to this function. Welcome you, sir. This workshop is comprised of 6 technical sessions handled by 6 experts in this discipline. Dr. CBKS, Head of the Department of University of Kerala, of Physics, University of Kerala. Dr. S. Anas, Director of Advanced Molecular Materials, MG University, Kottayam. Dr. K.S. Sajan, Assistant Professor in Education, NSS Training College, Attapalam. Dr. Anil Kumar K.M., Assistant Professor of Physics, MSM College, Kaingulam. Shri Arun Kishore, Librarian of our own college. Dr. Rajesh Chandran, Faculty Member of our department. I welcome all of them to this function. I also welcome faculty members of my department, other departments, and other colleges who are here to attend this function. We welcome wholeheartedly all the research scholars of my college and other institutions who are the real beneficiaries of this workshop. Let me also welcome the students of our college and other colleges, non-teaching and supporting staff of our college to this function. Now, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Rajesh Chandran, who has helped me a lot in organizing this program. I should not forget the support from my colleagues, Dr. Srijit K. Pishardi, Dr. Rajesh S.R., Ms. Manju V., and Dr. Srigang J. Verma, our research scholars, Arunima, Anandu, and Rohit, and our degree and PG students, especially Hari Krishnan Nambudiri. Once again, I welcome you all to this function. Once again, welcoming all, we also pray for the soul of Professor Patadiri Sir, former principal, who passed away last night, paying homage to his soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. With great honor and respect, may I invite the Principal of Sanatana Dharma College, Dr. Priya Unnikrishnan Pillai, for the presidential address.
Honorable Manager of SD College, Sri B. Krishnamar Sir, Distinguished Chief Guest of the Day, Arindada Bhattacharya Sir, Eminent Professor and Syndicate Member, University of Kerala, Gopchand Sir, Ramanand Sir, former Vice Principal of SD College and Managing Committee Member, Head of the Department of Physics, Dr. Lakshmi, eminent speakers of the day, eminent faculty members, dear delegates and students. This program, National Workshop on Publication and Ethics, is a topic of great relevance today. Nowadays, many institutions, in addition to the universities and the research institutes, many colleges, many places are research centers, and everywhere research is going on. Our college is one of the largest college under the University of Kerala and is the oldest aided college with 13 undergraduate courses, 9 PG courses, postgraduate courses, and all postgraduate departments are research departments. Established in pre-independence day in 1946, on 20th June 1946, by the then Divan of S12 Travancore, Sir C.P. Ramasamy Iyengar. And our college is now celebrating its 75 years of its existence. And our college is celebrating the Platinum Jubilee. And in association with our Platinum Jubilee celebrations, all departments are organizing various programs. Already programs connected with this Platinum Jubilee started in all departments of our college, and we give priority to the effective teaching as well as to the research. So all our PG departments are research departments today. All are affiliated to, all research departments are affiliated to the University of Kerala. And the topic is very relevant, research publication and its ethics. We know that now there is plagiarism checking everywhere it is going on, because there is copying of research work, research publications and then published in other places. And even in our state, there are certain instances where research publications are copied by some others and published somewhere else. So in such an instance, this publication checking is very important, and moreover, ethics is also very important. In the case of research, ethics is the foremost thing. If we do an independent research, then there is no question about this plagiarism. And we can quote others, we can cite the references, and all these we actually acknowledge. But even if we don't acknowledge and we include certain materials of others, then it is a matter of great importance, because copying in one form or another form is against the ethics of research. And moreover, the publication standards, now we know that there are several journals. The current trend is the online journals. Many online journals are there, and most of these online journals are without peer-reviewed team, or even without any revision, or even without checking the manuscript. Simply they publish the paper. And such an action definitely reduces the standard of research publications, because reviewing an article is very important before publication. And eminent researchers are there in the field of reviewing many articles, especially in the case of good journals. But in the case of some online or fast publishing journals, sometimes there is absence of eminent researchers or reviewers to review the articles. So in such instances, there is chance of the copying or even some chances of fake data to come in research publications. In such a context, in the case of youngsters, especially researchers, this seminar definitely helped them to understand what is the ethics of research, what is the ethics behind a research publication. And all these things will be dealt in this webinar program. So I wish all the success to this program. I conclude my presidential address because eminent speakers are there to speak about the various aspects of this workshop theme, that is the research publication and ethics. Anyhow, at last but the least, I again emphasize that the publication is a matter of great importance, relevance, and everybody should be very careful about the plagiarism and moreover the copying of the work of others. But we have to do independent work, because I am also a person from the science stream. To these words, I wish all the success to this workshop. I also welcome the dignitaries to this program, especially from DST, Bhattacharya sir is there, then the professor of optoelectronics from the University of Kerala, Gopchandra sir is there. All are welcome to this webinar series. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. We are really lucky to have such a noble management, which is a great support system in the growth of our institution. We are deeply indebted to the invaluable guidance from our manager, Sri P. Krishnakumar sir, for every endeavor. With great honor and respect, let me invite our manager for introductory remarks. Sir, please.
Good morning to all. Chairman of the meeting, Principal Dr. P.R. Unnikrishna, respected Chief Guest, Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, Managing Committee Member, Dr. S. Ramanand, keynote speakers of this function, Dr. K.G. Gopachandran, Dr. V. Biju, Vice Principal Dr. E. Nambudiri, Head of the Department of Physics Dr. S. Lakshmi, Senate Member Dr. S. Ajay Kumar, IKC Coordinator Dr. P. S. Parameshwaran, Platinum Jubilee Coordinator Dr. G. Nagendra Prabhu, Program Coordinator Dr. Ragesh Chandran, dear teachers and participants of this workshop. Sanatana Dharma College is celebrating its 75th year of successful service in imparting quality education to common people. We are happy that we have fulfilled the vision and mission of our founders, Sri K. Parthasarathy Iyengar and Sri V. Sundarraj Naidu. Physics department has been elevated as a research center in Kerala University just before the pandemic hit the world. Even in this adverse situation, the department has carried out its research and academic activities successfully. I congratulate the head of the department, Dr. S. Lakshmi, and team for organizing this 4-day workshop on research and publication ethics, which will be useful to all students of physics and other streams of researchers. In connection with this Platinum Jubilee year, I place on record our gratitude and regards to Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya for being with us to inaugurate this function. I also extend our immense pleasure and gratitude to the keynote speakers Dr. K.G. Gopachandran and Dr. V. Biju for being with us today. Wishing the function all success and wishing you all a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. No events stem up without a formal inauguration. We are lucky to have an eminent scientist like Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya for the inauguration. Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya is a senior scientist of R&D Infrastructure Division of Department of Science and Technology of Government of India. DST plays a pivotal role in the promotion of science and technology across the country. We are also benefited by the support from DST FIST for upgrading the department as a research center. Let me invite Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya for the inaugural address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Arundima. Good morning to all the esteemed dignitaries and all the young researchers who have joined today for this 4-day workshop. So it is a great honor and gives me immense pleasure to inaugurate the National Workshop on Research and Publication Ethics. So I think as Principal Sir mentioned, and we also have the experience, like ST College has a rich heritage of dedicated faculty members and have been one of the pioneer colleges having one of the highest credentials in terms of both research and outreach activities. In fact, because of these, credentials, the college has got deserving recognition for all the contribution to different kind of societal activities. So it is indeed a great concept and thought of concept which has great relevance, research and publication ethics, as highlighted by Principal Sir. That these days, not only these days, it has been since the early days when research and publications, these have hold great relevance, and so different researchers who are undertaking a career in research, so they have to face several kind of competitions. So basically, the urge to deviate from the normal comes from the competition. So my little bit whatever I have thought of to share with all the researchers is that when we have the urge, we should compete with the one who is the best in the field. So best in terms of if we go for Indian researchers, so it may be one should see who has been the best in his or her field. Like for example, Professor C.V. Raman, Dr. Ramanujan. Then we have Dr. G.N. Ramachandran. So these are great stalwarts of Indian science. Why I'm talking about Indian science is that despite the minimum of facilities, they have thought beyond the box. I mean, outside the box. The ideas that they have generated has been a result of thinking beyond what is the normal. So that definitely gives an opportunity to think your original research, and you don't need to deviate your mind from the norm. And this is one way how you can address how to not deviate from the path. And competition is healthy, but it is best when you compete with the best in the business. So with these words, I would like to really congratulate the esteemed faculty members of both SD College and University of Kerala to have and the entire team behind this workshop to have worked upon the most relevant concept and organizing this workshop. So with these few words, I wish all success for a most fruitful outcome from this national workshops, and a very good day to all the dignitaries and the research scholars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. Now, we move on to our virtual inauguration. Now, I would really like to invite Dr. K.G. Gopchandran, Professor, Department of Optoelectronics, Karyavattam, and member of Syndicate, University of Kerala. I am inviting him for the keynote address on the topic Research on Research. Sir, please.
Our chief guest of this inaugural session, Dr. Aritham Bhattacharya from DST, the Honorable Principal of the College, Dr. P.R. Unnikrishna Pilla, Honorable Chairman of one of the oldest colleges of Kerala, Sri P. Krishna Kumar, then Dr. V. Biju, also the Dr. Ramanand, Dr. Krishnamurthy, Dr. Ajay Kumar, Dr. P.S. Parameshwaran, Dr. Nagendra Prabhu, and Dr. Ragesh. First of all, I express my sincere thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak to you on today morning. So I would like to share a few slides with you. So I think can you see the slides?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
So I'm just I was giving a title, research on research. It is becoming very important. So just now, while narrating the address, Sir was addressing to follow the great path of Sir C.V. Raman, Ramanujam Sir, etc. That is the best possible words one can give in this type of an occasion. So that is very important. If we follow such paths, no issue mentioned by the principle will come into play, because the ethics of science clearly coincides with practice of good science. While doing your thesis or some other research project, if you do good science, no plagiarism or no such issues will come into play. Sometimes even plagiarism checking itself become irrelevant. So most of these participants, I think, are beginners in research. There may be a few experienced researchers also. So I would like to give some glimpses of this research for today. Doing research on research itself is coming a hot topic, and I think we can make thousands of theses by those experts in such an area. So now, first of all, I would like to invite your attention to some fantastic discoveries. I'm giving just 3 or 4 examples. In 1932, Neil demonstrated the photosynthesis, a light-dependent redox reaction, in which water and carbon dioxide react to form carbohydrate and oxygen. You see the beauty of the topic of the research and the contribution he has made to us, to the world. So that way, when we aim something, that research must be either it must increase the life expectancy of people, or it must improve the comfort that human being experience today, or it must lead to the peace and harmony in this world. Otherwise, this research is only having some incremental interest. You see, in 1925, Columbia University pathologists established that a cholesterol compound in skin, defined as 7-dehydrocholesterol, is activated by UV light and transformed into vitamin D. Another discovery in 1895, William Röntgen discovered X-rays. So, fast-moving electrons striking on a target, X-rays are produced in study. So you see the beauty of these discoveries. Then you see in 1958, staff at Rockford General Hospital determined light treats jaundice by oxidizing biliverdin to biliverdin. In 1954, Bell Laboratory researchers demonstrated the first silicon solar cell. Now we are in the hype of having an electrical vehicle at home. In 1960, the most revolutionary discovery, Theodore Mayman created the first laser by shining a flash lamp on a silver coated ruby rod. So these are some of the major discoveries I was just showing in order to invite your attention to the beauty of the discoveries made earlier. Now we look at the publications. You must always say at Science and Nature. Now we are not succeeding to have a paper. Most of us are not succeeding to have a paper in Science or Nature. But as researchers, I give only one advice to you. You try to read articles of Nature and Science. For that, you have to get few articles, that's all. You can read it. Nobody prevents you from reading it. But once if you start reading, just reading these articles from your early stage of research, I am sure that you can definitely get into the list of authors in these journals during your career.
Gopchandra sir, excuse me.
Yes.
Sir, your introduction slide is visible right now.
A slide is not visible, huh?
Yeah, slide is visible, but the first slide, introduction slide, it is visible. If you please change to slideshow and then...
The slide is coming.
Okay, sir.
No other slide has come?
No, sir, it is not in the slideshow. If you turn the slideshow... Okay, sir.
Okay. Once again I will... So I will be showing the slides one by one, and whenever I make the change in slide, I will just say next slide so that you can confirm that the slide has changed. Slide has changed?
Yes, sir.
Earlier we haven't seen this, eh?
So the thumbnail is visible in the left part.
Now this is visible?
Yeah, now it's okay, sir. If you turn to slideshow, it will be more good.
But I changed it to slideshow. I think that made a problem. I will go this way.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So this was the one I was showing about the photosynthesis, and this was the one I was speaking about that vitamin D, and you see this, and this was the one I was showing about the exercise, and this was the one I was showing about the oxidizing bilirubin to biliverdin, and the major discovery in 1958, and this was the one I was speaking about the Bella discovery of the solar cells, and this was the one I was speaking about the ruby laser. I hope you can understand. So now you see these are the two top journals which I was telling to you. You must read these the papers coming in these journals, at least one in a month, at least one article in a month you please read. If you start doing that, definitely one day your name will come in the authors list, at least during your career, because these are nowadays we have very good access to these things. Earlier, it was not possible for we people to get a paper or these magazines or reading these magazines or touching these magazines with our hands, because it was that much expensive. But today, with the revolution in the information technology, we can have access, and you just get it and read it. And then always you imagine of publishing your findings in good journals. Never bother about the number of publications or the time it takes, etc. But you publish in very good journals your honest findings. That will have great impact in the science to come. But always you go for very good peer-reviewed journals. Because if you want to become a real scientist, you must get your papers rejected and it must go revision many times. Like that only you can become a very good author as well as a very good scientist. So that way, it's a painful exercise, but finally you will be at the hem. You will be very, very happy. That stage you will achieve. So always, you must have an eye on good journals, publishing in good journals. But I stress the thing that you must read articles coming in science as well as in nature. So you have a variety of journals you can look into. That's the stage. Now, I'm actually interested in speaking about the importance of titles, abstracts, manuscripts, etc. But within this 20 or 25 minutes, I don't think that it is possible. So I am just touching here and there. Now, for titles, I see the title of the doctoral thesis of Sir Albert Einstein. You see what was the title of his PhD thesis? It was a new determination of molecular dimensions. So you just try to understand the thing which speaks, the thesis, the what we can get out of that thesis. So you see, he has used only few words. At the same time, it clearly tells what is inside it. At the same time, it is attracting the physicist to the particular subject. So that the beauty of title is very important. At the same time, it makes a difference from others' works. So this is a new determination of molecular dimensions was the title of the doctoral thesis of Sir Albert Einstein. And another thing is that these are the titles of the books, few titles of the books published by our great scientist, the late Sri Dr. Thana Padmanabhan. You see, the Sleeping Beauties in Theoretical Physics, the title of his book, or the Quantum Themes. You can just go through the titles of the articles of Dr. Thana Padmanabhan. So if you look at such geniuses, genius scientists, we can see that there are many things we can understand the title itself, how to make a title for your paper, or how to make a title for your thesis, etc. Today morning I would like to highlight that. Whenever, because they don't want any recommendation, you don't have to spend any money for that. Only thing is a question of time and a commitment for that. So that way you can see this. You always, as in the inaugural address, I was saying, you always try to follow the great scientists of the world as well as the great scientists of our country, you can definitely make miracles. So the title will, even if you go to the abstracts of some of the published publications of these great scientists, sometimes we will see that this is very simple, and we can definitely go to the publication and we can understand it. But sometimes we cannot understand anything from the content of the paper because it will be sophisticated mathematics and things. But the abstract will definitely call our minds to read it, to take that article with our hands. You can say, for example, you can go through some of the abstracts written by Dr. Padmanabhan. You can see that correctly. So now you see the nurturing creativity in research is a serious thing. I do not have any answer for that question, but intelligence is the ability to function at a high level in some domain. So I do not know whether we can say that we can have the ability to function at a high level in all domains. But definitely, all people can function at a high level in certain domain. That is the thing. So asking new questions and altering the domain itself refers to the creativity. A highly intelligent person may lack single-minded devotion and passion that drive creators. That drive creators. So that is the case. Now, if you examine the brain, you can see that words, numbers, lines, etc. comes. Same is the case on the other side, include colors, shapes, etc. So that was that is a thing which we can connect with the creativity of the human being. And now we are trying to make the machines intelligent to do these things, and I think there may be a competition between the machines. Which machine is more intelligent, whether machines of A or machine of the company B, which is more intelligent. Such a situation is arising. So now you just when you study the research methodology, my opinion is that you try to understand creativity and how do I nurture it in my research? Is it possible? If possible, what are the ways I have to follow, etc. If you go in those ways, there won't be any problems with your ethics, basically. So, for coming to the research supervision, it is easy to formulate two trivial research problems. Any scientist can make it. It is easy to formulate two tough research problems, but it is difficult to formulate feasible research problems that can be investigated in a satisfactory way in about 3 to 5 years. To be successful guides, we have to develop the ability to repeatedly formulate such research problems for a few decades. So, for example, evolutionary biology not only helps us understand the history of life on Earth, but also generates useful ideas that can be applied to many fields, most notably in medicine, agriculture, and conservation. The power of evolution to generate fruitful ideas in many other fields reinforces its value as a theory. Even physicists, mathematics people, or chemistry, or even economics people refers to this evolution of biology for correlating with their fields, for recognizing certain patterns, etc. That means, in brief, I would like to say that an idea that maybe it will be better to have a that idea can generate more ideas. So, so just to consider a few questions. What causes gravity? What causes gravity? How do tectonic plates move around the Earth's surface? How do our brains store memories? How do water molecules interact with each other? At least you see the beauty of the questions. What causes gravity? Why do water molecules interact with each other? We don't know the complete answers to this and an overwhelming number of other questions. But the prospect of answering them beckons science forward. See, science can investigate all sorts of questions. When did the oldest rocks on Earth form? Through what chemical reactions do fungi get energy from the nutrient they absorb? What causes Jupiter's red spots? How does smog move through the atmosphere? Science can investigate any such things. Science has limits. A few things that science does not do. Science does not make moral judgments. Science does not make aesthetic judgments. Science does not tell you how to use scientific knowledge. Science does not draw conclusions about supernatural explanations. So, science has its own limits. That's it. So, it is hard to find someone who would admit to being against ethics. There will be nobody among our researchers. They will say that I am against ethics. It is hard to find someone who would admit that they are against ethics. But it is equally hard to find faculty in academic departments of science and engineering who are willing to give up precious time and credits for formal instructions in ethics. From my own experience, I think, early days, when somebody speak about ethics, I believe that if you do good science, honestly, no such problems will come. But I think once if you try to understand the different chapters of the ethics, research ethics, we can conduct very good research. It will definitely help us in doing very good science. So I think this introduction of the ethics course in this syllabus will definitely improve the way in which research is conducted in our laboratories and in our even in social science and other languages, all including science and humanities, everything. It will definitely improve because understanding the ethics will give a boost. But only thing is we must see that it is a very important thing and important chapter. It is just not limited to the thing of copying something or taking something from somewhere, etc. That is not the case. They are only some superficial things in the ethics, but the important things comes at the under that very important things are there in the ethics. I can give few things before winding up my lecture today. So the scientific method and the ethics method are different. That is the basic problem. Scientific method asks a question, formulate a hypothesis, perform an experiment or something else. If it is computational like that. Collect data, draw conclusions, bake until thoroughly cooked, garnish with some additional observations. This is the scientific method which usually people follow. So scientific idea plus expectations plus observations will be the mathematical abstraction of the scientific argument. So this is a scientific method. But the ethics method are entirely different. That is the thing. So some question of ethics comes. When a question of ethics come into play, the method followed to see whether it is ethically correct is different from scientific method. That is the case. So another interesting thing is the parsimony. So the principle of parsimony suggests that when two explanations fit the observations equally well, a simpler explanation should be preferred over a more convoluted and complex explanation. The principle of parsimony suggests when two explanations fit the observations equally well, the simpler explanation should be preferred over the more convoluted, complex explanation. The Occam Rasa, who suggested this, explains it like that. A straightforward explanation should be preferred over an explanation requiring more assumptions and some hypotheses. We can connect this to the ethics of science. You try. Talking about ethics in any field is very difficult. Ethics interferes with the unbridled, uncontrolled, self-interested and arrogated power. This is as true in the professions like in a kindergarten. If we researchers go and would like to spend some time, we may feel bored because we cannot be in that atmosphere for a long time. And that is the case for the scientist. If we put in the ethics field, such a discomfort may feel at the beginning. Discomfort is as evident among scientists as it is anywhere. Somebody wrote like this, it is harder than when he went for teaching ethics for the scientist. He was writing like this, is harder than I thought to deal with the issues of scientific integrity with the scientist. They tend to get defensive, feisty, and see ethics teaching as a peripheral activity. So one reason for some of the tension between scientists and ethicists may have been the inherent conflict between the method of science and method of ethics, as I earlier said. According to one ethicist, the scientists seem to have a desperate hold on empiricism, a need to rely on objectivity, falsibility in ethics, as well as in scientific problems. Scientists, for their part, experiences that ethics questions could be answered simply by applying the methods of science, and that it is in the sense that no separate domain of ethics within the field of scientific research. That is the most important issue. So you see one example, so that it will be clear for you. The methods of science and ethics are different enough that the scientific reliance on objectivity can lead to confusion. One problem in ethics comes. Solving ethical problem does require that you discover the facts of the case. Many trials may be needed. We have to we have to take trials from the witnesses, others, supervisors, other researchers, witnesses, etc. Many things may be needed. But solving such problems cannot wait for verifiable data on whether or not a particular course of action will lead to a desired conclusion. Indian ethics problems often have their core the need for an immediate answer or an issue about whichever is a central unknown. Because in both the cases, when the ethical problem is addressed, the people who are going to get a solution for the answer is addressing one central unknown. Because whether there is any ethical violation or not, that is the unknown before those people. But the scientist is also addressing the unknown problem. He is going to unravel it. He is going to find a solution for that unknown. So that is the case. So the ethicist will be following some method to finding out the solution for the problem regarding the ethics under question. Whereas the scientist who worked for solving that problem addressed the unknown in a scientific method. So you see, an example that relates back to this question of methodology is that the answer to whether or not a particular hypothesis is right or wrong cannot be a determining factor in which whether or not researcher includes or excludes a certain piece of data in a graph. So you are going to disclose your findings regarding a particular problem, and you have done one more experiment and you have one more data with you. And if you know that if you add that experiment also with this, there is a problem. And sometimes then you will keep that data away. If you keep that data away, that problem will go without any problem. So there is a serious ethical violation is coming, because you know that if you add this, this is the solution you found out is not fully correct. The hypothesis you tested is under question. That is the case. So the ethical determination on the use of the data must be made before we know, if we ever do, whether or not the hypothesis is correct. But if you have not done that additional experiment, you do not know that. So you do not know that if you have done that experiment, there is some problem with the ethics. But that is why I said the ethics of science is not on the superficial things that we consider. The ethics of science is something very important in the science, practicing science. So scientists will recognize that this particular example is also an example in which doing ethical science and doing good science coincide. That is why I said the ethics and good science coincides. So if you want to become an honest scientist of high reputation, you must follow the ethical guidelines. That will only end up in making up of a good scientist. So my suggestion is that you must spend your valuable time for studying this paper, ethics. That will only support you in your findings, and you can definitely touch top journals and even get more recognitions, more citations, more you can even have patents, etc. But so that's the case I would like to underline in this lecture. So you see, vast majority of scientists doing research have had no formal training in research ethics. Everywhere. That is a truth. The course of so they have introduced we have introduced the ethics course. So we are now in the OBE, starting from our undergraduate course. We are going for outcome-based things. So according to well-known scientists, the outcome of a ethics course, what can be done? The students studied the ethics. So what are the outcomes we can expect from the students? be able to clearly describe relevant scientific conventions, including laboratory practice, if any, institutional responsibility, etc. Be able to describe what led to ethical problems, including causes inherent in the social context of the practice of science. Be able to consider how to bring current scientific conventions more in line with the ideal. Be able to separate behaviors into 4 categories: morally prohibited, required, permitted, and encouraged, thus illustrating an understanding of the role of the scientist in a society. So these are the 4 outcomes we can test in the question paper that we set for the ethics module in different disciplines. So now you see, this is, I will once again try for a slideshow. If it makes problem, you please tell me. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Can you see the slide?
So not in the slideshow. In the PowerPoint window, we can see the slide.
Now,
Now, sir, I hope, did you share the whole screen, sir? In your sharing option? In the Google Meet sharing option, did you select the whole screen? Entire screen?
this one problem coming here. So now you can see.
Now, sir, yeah, we can see the PowerPoint window, but not the slideshow. So you are just moving the cursor over the window.
Okay, we will go like this.
Okay, sir.
But, you see, this is the claim for the cold fusion in 1989. Actually, with the Fleischmann, along with his colleague, actually reported the cold fusion technology in 1989. And it was the future of the clean energy generation. And this madam, a politician of US politician, Marilyn, witnessing the experimenting with the discovery in 1989 in a laboratory photograph available in Google. So you see, this is the claim of cold diffusion, but subsequent to that, failures to reproduce this experiment came into public and effectively led to the disqualification of the subject from further studies. Because actually this Fleischmann and his colleague got some results, their laboratory, but it was not complete. And then he were rushed into the government for some financial support. And that project, government has handed over to some group for examining the project. And on getting in that project for evaluation, one group, I think his name is John, something, his group suggested immediately to the government that if they can collaborate with us, we can do it jointly. Then the Fleischmann group said, we cannot collaborate with anybody because the second group was doing experiment in a very different domain. It has only some peripheral relation with this group. But immediately, the first group published their results without scientifically validating. Finally, what happened was the subject, cold diffusion itself, was withdrawn from the further studies. So you see, a hydrogen atom has only a single proton in its nucleus, whereas deuterium, a rarer isotope of hydrogen, has a proton and a neutron. It was the basic of that discovery. And a hydrogen atom has only the process by which two atoms join together or fuse into a single heavier atom is called fusion. As all of you know, in the sun, it is the stars, it is taking place. And the cold fusion compared to high temperatures, the process was thought to require. It was the kind of discovery that scientists dream of. A simple experiment with the results that could reshape our understanding of physics and changes lives the world over. However, discovery was missing one key ingredient: good scientific behavior, and the technology has lost. And now, on 29th 1989, the two electrochemists grabbed the world's attention by announcing at a press conference that they had observed controlled nuclear fusion in a glass jar. Nature magazine stated that Nature never published the manuscript by these people. The authors withdrew it to focus on follow-up work. But a paper reporting the similar finding by a group of Brigham Young University was published in April 1989. The second group. The only report at the time from Fishman and Pons, the first group, was a short paper lacking in detail in the Journal of Electroanalytical Chemistry. And this paper is in the heart of that trouble. So many things occurred. The first group, without scientifically validating, published. The second group rushed and published something by almost stealing the wisdom or the thought of the first group. Like that, there was it is a clear case for the ethics in science. So now in the 2019 Nature perspective suggested revisiting the cold case of cold fusion. In 1989, it come to a halt. Now in 2019, this group of people headed by this scientist Curtis B. Brilliant states that they have restarted work on cold fusion and he has stated, narrated clearly in the story why they are starting, how they are starting, who are all the people involved in it, and everything. It is clearly stated. We can definitely wait for good results. And now, you see, I think a lot of time. I'll be putting 2 slides. I will just stop it. So, for one more example, I will show failing to give credit to others can kill your paper. If you simply that an idea is yours and the referee knows it is not, then it is neither you do not know that it's an old idea, you do know but are pretending that you wish. For example, you see the case of Watson. So, failing to cite the contribution for the DNA sequence, Watson got the Nobel Prize. Actually, Rosalind Franklin, she died at the age of 38. Discovered it in the microscope. Watson was knowing that Rosalind Franklin has seen these images in her microscope, and Watson got the Nobel Prize. And Rosalind Franklin, to her letter to her father, states like this about science, not about this problem, because she may not be knowing about this problem. Science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated. Science for me gives a partial explanation of life. Insofar as it goes, it is based on fact, experience, and experiment. Now, in King's College London, Rosalind Franklin obtained images of DNA using X-ray crystallography. An idea first broached by Wilkin. Franklin's images allowed James Watson and Francis Crick to create their famous 2-strand, the double helix model of DNA. So now I would like to tell you that while teaching and studying this, many videos available in the net also can be used for understanding the impact of ethics in scientific practice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the informative session. Sir stressed the importance of quality we need to maintain in our research work. Thank you, sir, once again. Now, we are organizing this program in collaboration with University of Kerala. So, let me invite Dr. V. Viju, Professor, Department of Physics, University of Kerala, and Head in Charge, Department of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology, Karyavattam, for the special address. Well, please.
Good morning to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good morning to all. Respected Principal Dr. Unnikrishnan sir, Chief Guest Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, respected Dr. K.G. Gopchandran sir, other dignitaries, and dear friends. Actually, this was a very enlightening morning as far as myself is concerned, because as Gopchandran sir pointed out, even though we are aware about the concept of ethics in research, we seldom spend our time, so-called precious time, to learn formally different aspects of ethics. In fact, for me, I consider myself very fortunate enough to hear the lecture by Dr. K.G. Gopchandran sir, the keynote address on this subject. Now, without wasting much of the time, which is also a part of research ethics, I will present one or two points which I feel is relevant in this context. One is, the first point I would like to emphasize is that there is actually something called ontology and epistemology of ethics. Now, ontology and epistemology, these two terms are meant for philosophy, or they are two different ways of viewing things. For example, most of you might be physics students or physics teachers, and you know about the subject quantum mechanics. And you also know that there are some very prominent physicists like Albert Einstein who were actually somewhat against the formalism of quantum mechanics as we learn it today and as we explain the quantum world today. You might have heard about the famous quoting from Einstein that God doesn't play dice and so on. Now, in fact, that problem was with respect to how we explain nature. Now, an ontologist would like to express or explain nature as it is truly present, whereas an epistemologist would explain it as he understands it. Now, quantum mechanics, as we learn, is an epistemologic thing because it works. It could explain mathematically everything in the microscopic world. But it will not answer many questions like why uncertainty occurs or why there is dual nature. These things are not explained. So, see, the point I would like to say is that as far as research ethics is concerned also, there is an ontological perspective and an epistemological perspective, which means the following. Each of us have our own ideas about research ethics. For example, some of us will feel that if we never copy down deliberately, copy down from somebody else's work, then we are not doing anything unethical. However, the scientific community has a different version of this term copying down. Because even if we write maybe 6 words or 5 words continuously, then a software will say you are actually plagiarizing. In fact, you might not be actually deliberately doing it. So, in order to survive in the present world of research, we need an ontological knowledge about the concept of research ethics. Probably that is one of the objectives of such formal trainings in the area of research ethics. And this becomes more relevant because the job of a researcher, especially in academic institutions like universities and colleges, have turned into something which is very similar to that of an advocate. What an advocate does is that if he is from India, what he has to do is he has to look into the Constitution of India, which is there, or some penal codes which are already there, and then he has to look into the previous cases, and the way he presents, the better he presents his case depends upon his ability to collect information from already which is written in the constitution, interpreting it, and also in collecting information from previous cases which were done in courts. Similar is the situation of researchers as well, because what we do generally is we do have a problem, we have a hypothesis, and then what we do is we have to look into already reported work and select which is suitable for our explanation, and to avoid, that is what that is mostly done, is to avoid which is against or which goes against our hypothesis. Now the reviewer, if he is reviewing it with wholeheartedly or effectively, then the reviewer will point out that there are certain lacunaries in the explanation or in the way we have written our paper, and then we are supposed to modify it. So, at every point, ethics plays a very crucial role. As a researcher, the duty is to look into all the literature possible and present the pros and cons of our hypothesis. And as a reviewer, the ethics is to be very responsible about the reviewing process, even though he is doing it without any commercial interest. Now, all this shows that we are actually living in a world where formal training of research is very crucial. Now, the second point about the formal training is that in our part of the world, or probably all around the world, the concept of research ethics is quite new as far as its widespread relevance is concerned. Because in earlier times, when the research community was more limited, such problems were probably limited. Even though it existed, it was limited. But nowadays, with every country like ours is going in for research at a very large scale, the awareness or the proper awareness of research ethics becomes very relevant and very crucial. And I will wind up with this by referring to 2 or 3 situations in science, the history of science, where research ethics was not followed and where research ethics was followed in every respect. One is the case, as Gopchandran sir referred to, the case of structure of DNA and all. Now, there is another story also where one Indian, Professor Ramachandran, G. Ramachandran was involved. Actually, Professor G. N. Ramachandran, who hails from Tamil Nadu, Madras, was the person who actually proposed the triple helix model for collagen. And he worked on it, but he never got his the due merit, what you call as the due reward for his work. And in fact, the credit, everything went to Crick, who along with the Watson was awarded the Nobel Prize for the double helix model of DNA. But even though he was not fully credited, Crick somewhere mentioned that it was G. N. Ramachandran's prediction of the triple helix model that led him to the discovery of his own model, which was well established. But certainly, somewhat credit was given, but he never got his due credit. Now, another situation is with respect to Isaac Newton, who is probably the best known physicist ever. Now, probably you do not know the name Isaac Barrow, or most of us are not familiar with the name Isaac Barrow. In fact, Isaac Barrow was a professor who actually resigned from the location chair in Cambridge so that Albert Einstein could get a job there, could occupy the location chair of professor in Cambridge. Also, actually, Newton got such a such a reception from the scientific world for somebody resigning so that Newton could get a research position in Cambridge. So he was actually a beneficiary of such a highly ethical act of Isaac Barrow. But during his career, though Isaac Newton was an extremely brilliant scientist, had some bad credits to his name also. For example, one instance is that there is a debate of who was the inventor of the science of calculus, the mathematics of calculus. There were two persons who more or less simultaneously devised the method of calculus. One was Isaac Newton, and the other one was a French mathematician. But finally, it all came down to the Royal Society of Science who have to decide who was the inventor, and Isaac Newton was actually the chair of the society. And it is said that he himself decided that he was the inventor of the new mathematics. So such unethical practices came from Isaac Newton, who was actually a beneficiary of what you call as some behavior which goes beyond ethics by somebody called Isaac Barrow. So such situations you can always find in science. And I will wind up by saying that ethics in research has now become a very formal subject. And when something becomes formal, there is a problem that we look only into the syllabus which is provided to us and never think that we ourselves have to contribute to research ethics. I would like to say that research ethics is still in a very evolving stage, and as players of research and as people who are doing research, we also have to contribute to the evolution of the subject of ethics in research. With this, I will end my keynote address, and I am thankful to the organizers, especially Department of Physics, Sanatana Dharma College, Alappuzha, and Dr. Rakesh Chandan, who is an alumni of Department of Physics, University of Kerala, for the opportunity to talk for this lecture. And I also thank Dr. K.G. Gopsudan for an enlightening lecture on the topic research on research. The title itself was very intriguing, very attractive, and thank you all for the patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Professor S. Ramanan, former Vice Principal of Sanatana Dharma College and Manager of SPVHSS, and my mentor, to felicitate the gathering. Sir, please.
Thank you, Anima.
Yes, sir.
Respected President of this meeting, our Principal Dr. P.R. Krishna Pillai, Honorable Manager of ST College, Sri P. Krishna Kumar, esteemed Chief Guest Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, Senior Scientist of DST, respected Special Guests Dr. K.G. Gopachandran, Dr. V. Biju, our own college Vice Principal Dr. E. Krishna Nambudiri, IQSC Coordinator Dr. P.S. Parameswaran, Platinum Jubilee Coordinator Dr. G. Nakendra Prabhu, Head of the Department Dr. S. Lakshmi, Dr. Rakesh Chandran, and all other dignitaries and research scholars present. It indeed is a happy occasion to me as the former head of the department of the physics department to felicitate the present faculty led by Dr. S. Lakshmi for organizing this 4-day national workshop in collaboration with the Department of Physics, University of Kerala. I wish the program be a befitting one to our Platinum Jubilee celebrations. As our principal mentioned, this topic has more relevance nowadays. So I hope this workshop would be much informative or give much information to all the participants, especially the students engaged in research. And this workshop would turn out to be a great success. Before concluding, I would like to add a few words about the present HOD, that was the Department Dr. Slashmi. I know her as a student and later as a colleague. She wants to do something, or rather many things, memorable in her tenure, a kind of leave a mark behind. So I wish her and the supportive faculty of the Department of Physics that they organize more and more meaningful webinars, seminars, workshops of this kind, which would be beneficial to the students as a whole. And that would make the department worthy of its name, Research and PG Department of Physics. Before concluding, let me express my thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, and to Dr. K.G. Gopachandran and Dr. V. Pichu for their presence and for the valuable information on the topic of this workshop. Thank you all. Thank you. Okay, that's all. Arunima.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, let me invite Dr. E. Krishnan Nambudri, sir, Vice Principal of SD College, for felicitation. Sir, please. Sorry, he is not here right now. Now, let me invite Dr. G. Nagendra Prabhu, Platinum Jubilee Coordinator, Sanatana Dharma College. Sir, please.
Yeah. A very good afternoon to all of you. It's almost 11:30 when the second session is to begin by the earlier schedule. So I won't be taking much longer than absolutely necessary. So it is a very great pleasure to be here this morning, this fine day, when we are offering ourselves to the world of research by starting a very special program on research publications and ethics. About the topic, everyone who spoke before me have spoken, and I have nothing to add to that. I urge the research scholars who are attending this program to take the words of the experts very seriously, because nowadays, these days of social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, it is very difficult to differentiate between the real stuff and the fake news. There are established mechanisms by which we can check the fact check, but in science also this has become a major issue. Even current science, one of the most respected journals started by Sir C.V. Raman himself, the Indian Academy of Sciences, they have a predatory journal, and every issue issues a alert on predatory journal by the name Current Science itself. So it is very difficult for the present generation of young researchers, students, who has to publish and who are not able to identify which is a predatory journal and not. So workshops and seminars like this will be of great help, and I congratulate the Department of Physics, and which is a research center associated with affiliated with the University of Kerala, who has taken this initiative. Sanatana Dharma College has already been in the limelight for, this is the Platinum Jubilee year, and as a Platinum Jubilee coordinator, I am very much indebted to all the departments who give us a chance to be part of all the novel initiatives that each department takes. Further, I would like to thank the Department of Science and Technology for selecting our college as for the full funding under the prestigious FIST program. When the FIST program was launched in 2000, we had submitted our application. Again, we resubmitted in 2001. But At that time, only university departments were considered. And in 2015, when we presented ourselves in Mumbai, had the good fortune to meet Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, Dr. Shiva Prasad, Dr. Amlesh Mukhopadhyay, and many others stalwarts. And only based on our presentation that myself and Dr. Srikanth, along with our then principal Paisa, Professor Gitakshan Pai, we went to Mumbai and we were selected for the full grant of 1 crore. Very few colleges were selected for that. And that has been a changing milestone event in the history of ST College. And later in 2018, we had the fortune of hosting the review meeting as well as the interaction meet, and literally principals and officials from Kashmir to Kanyakumari were landed in Alleppuzha, and most of them visited SD College also. So I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, Dr. Shiva Prasad, and all those who are associated with DST. We are very happy that we could, our management proposed, when we proposed, submitted a proposal, they came out with a matching grant of rupees 1 crore, even when that was not conceived as the present year. They have called, the management has to put at least 40% or 50%. Our management gave 100%, 1:1 ratio. So they contributed 1 crore, and we have an exclusive center for FIST instrumentation as well as e-learning facility, everything. So we are very much indebted to the Department of Science and Technology, and as Platinum Jubilee Coordinator, I would like to congratulate the Department of Physics and all those who are associated with this program. I wish this function all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. P.S. Parameshwaran, sir, the IQC coordinator. Sir, please.
Good morning to all. Respected chair and of our college, principal of our college, Dr. P.R. Shukulai, beloved manager, Sri P. Krishnakumar, respected chief guest, Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya, Dr. K.G. Gobchandran, Dr. Vichu, SDB Trust member, Professor S. Ramanand, Vice Principal, Dr. E. Kishanandudri, Head of Physics Department, Dr. Lakshmi, Dr. Ajay Kumar, Dr. G. Nagendra Prabhu, Dr. Rakesh Chandran, other dignitaries, teachers, and their participants. In this Platinum Jubilee year, all departments are organizing wonderful programs that reach students, teachers, researchers, and the society. This program mainly focuses on a different theme, research and research publication ethics. The quality, integrity, and ethics are inevitable not only in research but in all professions, particularly in the field of higher education, as we have the responsibility to mold future generations. Indeed, this program will be beneficial for all the scholars and students and the teachers who are involved in active research. I appreciate Dr. Lakshmi, at our Department of Physics and the team for organizing this program, and wish all the success for the future endeavors. I extend my happiness and gratitude on behalf of IQS CST College to collaborate with the Department of Physics and the Department of Nanoscience and Technology, University of Kerala, and also thankful to Dr. Arindam Bhattacharya for accepting our invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Due to university exams going on, Dr. S. Ajay Kumar, Senate member and head of the Department of Malayalam, is not able to join. He has sent his wishes. Thank you, sir. Now, I would really like to call upon Dr. Rakesh Chandran, SB, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Sanatana Dharma College, to deliver vote of thanks for the inaugural session. Sir, please.
Thank you, Arnima. A warm good morning to one and all. Respected chair of the meeting, our respected principal, Dr. P.R. Krishna sir, honorable manager Krishnama sir, our chief guest, Dr. Aridam Bhattacharya sir, and my teachers, Biju sir, Gopchandran sir, and the coordinator, Dr. S. Lakshmi, and Professor S. Ramanand sir, Krishnamurthy sir, Ajay sir, Parameswaran sir, Prabhu sir, and other dignitaries. Actually, it's a great occasion for Department of Physics because this is the first program we are organizing in connection with Platinum Jubilee celebration. As our HOD has already mentioned, we are trying to organize similar events which will be benefited to the students community or to the public, which are in par with the vision of our legendary founders. So this workshop also intends to provide awareness on research ethics. So we need to follow the research ethics in the entire scientific community. And personally, I feel privileged that I'm getting an opportunity to address the participants as resource person also. And we are running short of time, so I'm quickly move on to my duties. So it's an honor for me for being asked to deliver the vote of thanks in this prestigious occasion. At the very outset, I would like to thank the president of the meeting, our principal, Dr. P.R. Krishna sir, for his unconditional support. He is always acting as a catalyst so that we can do our best for the institution. So I, on behalf of Department of Physics and entire fraternity, I wish to extend hearty thanks to you, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank our respected manager, Krishnama sir. The management is always there to support the every need of our teachers, and personally I strongly believe the attitude of the management is surely the one of the key reasons for the overall development of our institution. So I, on behalf of the Department of Physics and entire fraternity of the college, I would like to thank our manager and the entire member of the management committee. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Aridam Bhattacharya sir, the senior scientist R&D Infrastructure Division DST New Delhi. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time for us to grace this occasion. And also today we had an opportunity to hear some valuable words from you, which reflects the importance of keeping ethics while doing our research work. So on behalf of the Department of Physics and entire fraternity, I would like to extend the hearty thanks to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So in this occasion, it is not good if I forget one name, Dr. Shiva Prasad, my friend and a colleague of Dr. Aridam Bhattacharya sir, who was instrumental for bringing Aridam sir here for this program. And special thanks to Shiva Prasad sir also. Next, I would like to place on record my hearty thanks to Gopchandran sir for accepting our invitation to deliver the keynote address here. I know the busy schedule of the Gopchandran sir because the NAC visit is there. So he is busy with the NAC work. So thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. And your session was very informative, and I hope it is a duty of every researcher to accept or to understand the words from Gopchandran sir in that serious manner. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. So I, on behalf of Department of Physics and entire fraternity of the institution, I wish to extend a hearty thanks to you, sir. Next, I like to thank my dearest teacher and my dearest mentor, Dr. V. Biju sir. So he is a person who showed me personally how to behave and how to act as a teacher. And what is the role of teacher among students community? He is a good communicator and he is a good teacher mentor. And his words were very informative, and he cited some of the beautiful examples to reflect the importance of keeping ethics in our research work. So thank you, Biju sir, for your valuable words. So I, on behalf of Department of Physics and entire fraternity of the college, I extend a hearty thanks to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I like to thank Professor S. Ramanand sir, manager SDVHSS. Actually, he was the HOD when I joined this institution in 2010. his act and his words are always inspiring, and he is there to support all the academic activities of our department. So we are expecting the same from you, sir, in future also. So on behalf of the Department of Physics and entire fraternity of the college, I wish to extend a happy thanks to you, sir.
Thank you, Rakesh. I will always be there.
Thank you, sir. So next, our vice principal and Ajay Kumar sir, they were busy with some official duties. So even in their absence, I wish to extend our heartiest thanks to them. And Nagendra Prabhu sir was here for delivering the felicitation address. Actually, he is the main brain behind the celebrations which are organizing by all the departments in connection with Platinum Jubilee celebrations. So thank you, sir, for your valuable words. And IQAC coordinator Parameshwan sir, actually he is also very much busy with the preparing NAC files. And thank you, sir, for your good words and showered on us. So I, on behalf of Department of Physics and entire fraternity, wish to extend happy thanks to you, sir. So I also want to extend hearty thanks to Dr. Prema teacher, the Department of Faculty of Department of Chemistry, because she was first introduced this concept to me to organize the similar event when I communicate the same with our coordinator Lakshmi teacher. So thank you, teacher, for what? For giving some good ideas so that we can organize the programs which will be benefited to students community. And on formally, it is my duty to deliver a vote of thanks to our coordinator and our HOD Department of Physics, Dr. Lakshmi teacher. And we are much blessed because we got such a good captain to guide us. So thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for your visionary ideas. And I would like to thank all my colleagues for their support with their shower throughout the program. And also, I wish to thank our students, research scholars for their untiring efforts. And I wish to thank the teachers, teaching staffs of the SD College and non-teaching staffs of the SD College for the support they have rendered. And also I would like to thank Arunima, who did a wonderful comparing for this program, and one student Harikrishnan, who was here to support the technical aspects of this program. And finally, a big thank you to each one of you who joined in this program to bless us. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And I hope the participants are the backbone of this program. So I wish to thank all the participants who joined here to attend the workshop. And hopefully you will learn after this program the importance of keeping ethics in research and how it is valuable when we need to follow in our life also. So thank you very much. Back to Arunima.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, our formal inaugural session has come to the end. I use this opportunity to thank each one of you for sparing your valuable time to be here with us. Our next session will start at sharp 12 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you and bye everyone.
Thank you so much, sir.